Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about the Washington Commanders scheduling a visit with Ohio State wide receiver Chris Olave, and I'll tell you guys why this actually is more than just a normal visit, and I'll talk about what I would think if the Washington Commanders drafted him in the first round. We'll also talk about some of the other pro days that Washington went to and what players they met with. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. I'm close to 7,500 subscribers, so I'd appreciate it if you guys would help me get there. Also hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video, and go ahead and follow my Twitter, link in the description. Now let's get right into the video. So around this time every year, we start to hear about players meeting with certain teams, whether it's at the Combine, Senior Bowl, or after that, and some of them don't mean too much. Like the ones at the Senior Bowl and the Combine, almost, the teams meet with most of the players, especially at positions of need. But there's certain visits that mean more than others, and the visits that mean a lot are the top 30 visits, because I'll read it right here for you guys. So Ohio State wide receiver Chris Olave says he has visits scheduled with the Washington Commanders, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Dallas Cowboys, and these are called top 30 visits. That's what it came out in reports. Teams can only host 30 prospects for visits at their facility, with some caveats for local prospects. So this is a notable level of interest. So that right there shows that Washington is interested in Chris Olave. It's not like they met him at the Senior Bowl or the Combine. This is an official visit at the team's facility, and they only get 30 of these besides some local prospects. So this shows that Washington truly is interested in Chris Olave. So real quick, let's talk about the player before I talk about if I would like this move. So Chris Olave, about 6'1", 189 pounds, senior at Ohio State, played with Terry McLaurin, and 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021 at Ohio State, and this past year had his best year, 936 yards, 13 touchdowns, so had a pretty big year. Played in about 11 games, and he was playing with Garrett Wilson, with Jackson Smith-Njigba, so he was playing with a good receiving core and a good quarterback, and he's been doing that for the last few years. He's been very, very consistent. Ran a 4.39 40-yard dash at the Combine, so he's got some speed as well. Can play on the outside or in the slot, but he's going to likely be a outside receiver in the NFL. He's a really good route runner. He's got a good release. He's great at those sideline catches. Has solid speed. 4.39 is pretty good speed. One of the weaknesses, I guess, he doesn't have like great athleticism. I'm not sure what his vertical jump was, but not great at necessarily contested catches. With guys double teaming him in the red zone, but he is a very good route runner. I personally like Garrett Wilson a little bit more than Chris Olave, because I feel like he's more explosive, and he's just more fun to watch, and so I would personally take him over Chris Olave. But either one is a great player, and I think Chris Olave is going to be a very good receiver in this league for a long time. And if I would rather not take him at 11. I think there's other receivers that are better than him, like Garrett Wilson, but I would not be opposed to trading back. And some people do not like the idea of trading back, but I think it would be a good idea in this class, unless someone like Kyle Hamilton or someone you really like is there at 11. If that's the case, of course you take him. There's no reason to trade back. But if there's like you're at 11, a receiver hasn't been taken off the board, and the Steelers are calling up and willing to give you this year's first plus next year's first and maybe like a 5th round pick, because I believe last year the Bears traded that year's first and this year's first, so 2 firsts and a 3rd, to move up a similar amount of spots to get Justin Fields. So it would be a similar thing if the Steelers did it for Malik Willis. We would go down to 20, and there's almost zero chance that 4 receivers are going to be taken off the board from picks 11 through 20. So I think we would still probably have 2 of those top 4 receivers on the board, and Chris Olave very likely will be there in that 18 to 26, 25 range. I think he'll be there. So as long as we trade back into that range, we'll be able to get him, and not only get him, but get back those assets, some of those assets that we traded for Carson Wentz, and even more. So that's why I think it would be a good idea. This class is also very deep at a lot of positions. So, that player you get at 14 is going to be somewhat similar to the player you get at 20 with, when other years it was very, top heavy. Like last year was pretty top heavy. So that is something to definitely consider for Washington. And who knows, the receivers are so close this year that Washington's number one receiver might be, another team's third best receiver, and then maybe you get your number one receiver at pick 20. So I think it's definitely a good thing for Washington to consider to do. And if they did that and they pick Chris Olave at pick 20 and got some assets like a future first round pick, I think that would be a great move, because you add another weapon, because I do think we need to add a receiver, whether it's in the first round or the second round, maybe like Pickens, or get another free agent or trade for a guy. They need to add another weapon for Carson Wentz and to help out Terry McLaurin, because Terry McLaurin's been the only receiver out there for a while, and we hope Curtis Samuel stays healthy, and we hope De'Ami Brown steps up, but we don't know that for sure. So I think we need to at least add in an insurance policy, and Chris Olave would be more than that. I think he's going to be a very good receiver in this league and would not mind. I think he is a first-round receiver, no doubt about it. And, here's a picture of him, Ron Rivera, and Marty Herney standing together. And all three of those guys were there at the pro day. So not only was Chris Olave there, but Garrett Wilson, another first-round receiver, CJ Stroud, who is not in this draft but will be in next year's draft, is going to be one of the top quarterbacks, either him or Bryce Young. Jeremy Ruckett, the tight end, is also there. There's some other players there as well, Pascal Garrett. So there's some prospects that could, definitely interest Ron Rivera and Washington. So I think it was a good pro day to go to for sure, because, there's a lot of players that they could draft to help the team. Ron Rivera went to we'll start with the Liberty Pro Day. So Martin Mayhew and Scott Turner were both in attendance for Malik Willis' Pro Day, and I do not think they're going to take a quarterback in the first round, because I think if they really liked a QB, they wouldn't have traded for Carson Wentz. I truly believe so. And, and they traded for him. So I think, if they really loved someone, they wouldn't have traded for Carson Wentz, and they would have traded for whoever they really like, or traded up for whoever they really liked, or just taken him at 11 and started him right away. And they didn't do that. They, traded for Carson Wentz. I wouldn't rule out a quarterback in the second round, but I think in the first round, and here's a picture of Malik Willis with Matt Rule and Scott Turner, I wouldn't rule out someone like Desmond Ridder in the second, someone like that who has some upside but might not be that first round talent. So that is something to consider. But I'm going to rule out Malik Willis, or definitely Kenny Pickett and Matt Corral. Malik Willis, still don't think we're going to draft him, but there is a small chance, just because he does have that high upside and maybe he needs a year or two. And we all know also, Carson Wentz a little bit sensitive to these backup quarterbacks, these rookie QBs. So I don't think it would be a good idea to go ahead and draft the guy, especially in the first round, even the second round as well. So Washington also went to Cincinnati's pro day, and Ron Rivera was there. So the only pro days I heard that he was there for was Cincinnati and Ohio State. He was not at Liberty's pro day. He was not at Pittsburgh's pro day for Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett. So, Cincinnati and Ohio State were very close to each other. So I think he went to the Ohio State one and then to the Cincinnati one, back to back. So, efficient right there. And the Cincinnati has some players. Alec Pierce, receiver, could be a mid-round option, that probably third to fourth round range. I'm not completely sure, but around that range. Maybe Washington wants to go after him. Of course, Desmond Ridder, who Ben Stanek just said that Washington has some interest in. They've got I forgot the guy's name, Reeves or whatever, the linebacker, Sauce Gardner. So Cincinnati has a lot of players that Washington could be interested in for sure. So I think it is a good pro day to go to. You got to go to you want Ron Rivera, you want these, top guys in your front office to go to the pro days where you're going to have, you're looking at the most players. So Ohio State and Cincinnati are both great ones to go for, and they're doing their due diligence on these quarterbacks, going to all their pro days. Not necessarily Ron Rivera, but they have guys at each pro day. And you look at the Malik Willis one, like I think, not many teams. Let me see, where is the tweet? Just a handful of teams sent both GM and offensive coordinator, Washington, Carolina, and Pittsburgh. So, they're doing their due diligence for sure. And, they had a decent amount of people go to the Notre Dame pro day today, which of course has Kyle Hamilton. But they had some guys, but Ron Rivera wasn't there. And Martin Mayhew and Marty Herney also weren't there. So not any major news, but we heard from Ben Stanek that they do have some interest in Desmond Ridder, so maybe if he's there in the second, they take him. But the biggest piece of information is Chris Olave. I think that's like the first official visit that, or top 30 visit that came out for Washington. When more come out, I'll give you guys updates on that. But let me know what you guys think about Chris Olave. Who would you rather take, Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson? Give me your top receivers in this class. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Peace, guys.